right, real quick, our preferred partners. They're not random sponsors. They're companies that have already proven they help indies win. So we want to share something that might change how you think about scaling. You don't need to hire to scale media. I know, it sounds too good to be true, but that's exactly what over 50 indie agencies discovered with Path Labs. They basically become an extension of your team. No headcount increase, no benefits to pay, no management overhead. Look, we all know media execution is getting harder and more fragmented every day. New platforms, new formats, new requirements. It's exhausting. Path Labs simplifies all of that so your team can focus on what they're good at: strategy, creativity, and growing client relationships. They give you a single point of entry to all the media tech and activation you need. No separate contracts with a dozen platforms, no extra hires, no tech overwhelm. Want proof it works? Over $200 million in media spend managed. Over 6,500 campaigns launched annually. 90% agency partner retention. This is their human-led model in action. Reliable execution, fast onboarding, and people who answer the phone when things get a little crazy. If you're ready to pitch and win bigger media opportunities, find out more about Path Labs at indieagency.partners.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Meet an Indie Agency. Today, we're going to meet another indie agency. Let's go to Indianapolis. Tom Denari, CEO of Young Laramore. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Kyle. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. And thanks for supporting this whole thing. We really appreciate it. Let's get right into it. What is Young Laramore best known for?
I think, we're a creative shop. We were founded by two creative guys 43 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long now.
Wow.
But I think when people think of Young Laramore, think of our creative work, obviously, our craft, our design. If you look at our work, it's beautiful, it's funny. It takes the form of whatever the brand is that we are working with. We don't have a particular style, but I think we have some really talented people that understand how to translate what a brand should be standing for, and then create communications, creative messaging, media that can really amplify that position that we've established for the brand.
Sure. So playing off that then, what would you say the top 3 core strengths are for YNL?
I think that first one, helping a brand find their authentic voice, like who they are, as opposed to imposing something on them. And I think if a brand needs to be funny, it can be funny. If a brand needs to be serious and beautiful, it can be that. And so we let our understanding of who the brand needs to be and that intersection with their audience. And I think that would be the second thing I would probably point out is we spent a great deal of time understanding human behavior.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this idea of finding the unspoken truth. And what do we mean by that? Well, if you ask someone why they buy something or why they choose something or why they make a decision about something, they will likely give you an answer of some sort. But that answer usually isn't the real answer. Usually there's something, a motivation that might be below their even level of consciousness that is actually driving that behavior. And so we do pretty in-depth consumer immersion, ethnography to help us really interpret what that unspoken truth is. And then from that helps us define the brand strategy where we feel like this brand can fill that spot, that need, that motivation that person really is looking to fill. And then I think the third thing is, we have a group of people that really like and trust each other and have been with us for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Longevity is important to us. I've been with the agency now 37 years. Our two ECDs partners have been with us 20 plus years. Our head of media, over 20 years. Our head of strategy, the baby, has been with us 8 years. So we have a level of trust and understanding of what direction we're going. We have a third of our employees have been with us 10 or more years, and we have 10 employees have been with us 20 or more years. So we have this trust among each other. We like working together. We love working with each other. And I think that helps create consistency for clients. So we've had, 3 clients. Let's see, one client's been with us 30 years, one over 20, and one another 15. So this idea of consistency and longevity, I think, is something that is great for us and I think beneficial to our clients as well.
Yeah, certainly. So let's jump in and talk about talent, because obviously you have people that have been there a long time. You've been there a long time. What is it that makes the talent want to stay there, and grow? Their rather than
Yeah,
jump around like a lot of people do. What makes that?
I think there's a shared, um, a really high standard that we all share. This idea, we want to do the best work of our lives,
Mhm.
and we have the ability to do that together. Because we're an independent agency, we can decide what clients we want to take on, what clients we don't want to take on. We're not beholden to a holding company or someone in another state telling us what we can or can't do. And I think that develops a level of trust within the agency that they know they're going to be supported, and they know if they need to spend more time working on something and we decide we want to invest in that with a client, we're happy to do it. And that's a decision we can make here. We don't have to talk to anyone else in another office someplace else.
Right, right. So are most people based in Indy?
Yeah, we have, of our 70 people, all but I think 5 are here.
Okay.
So we're, culture is important to us. Um, you know, we do, and it's interesting, of the 5 or 6 that we have outside, 4 of them have been with us in our office. And for
Okay.
whatever reason, they moved, and have stayed with us. Um, I think the other thing that's interesting, we also have 6 people that were with us before and came back. So again, they know, they left and they saw, what the real world was like, and they said, "Hey, I got to get back to YNL." And I think that's another testament to the kind of people that we have, that, they know they want to be a part of. We just brought on board our chief client officer, um, Adrian Strange, that was with us about 13 years ago in a
Mhm.
PR account management role. She had moved to Austin with her new husband back then, and worked at GSD&M for about the last 12 years, and able to convince her to come back here to Indy. And she had been here working remotely, and came on as our senior VP, chief client officer, and that has worked out so great. So she already knew who we were. She knew our culture. She understood what we're about. There was a great level of trust in her, so that's been a really great fit for her back in that seat.
Yeah, like it sounds like there's just a real camaraderie there, and a real trust that you're going to do well when you come to YNL.
I think so. I think people, Trevor Williams, who's one of those ECDs, we have an annual retreat every year.
Mhm.
And this goes back, maybe he's been with us 22 years. This might have been in year 1 or year 2. And at that retreat, we had people talk about why they came to YNL. And at that time, I think he saw YNL as a stepping stone. Like, he'll come, he'll stay a year or 2, and then he'll go someplace else. But I think what he found was that there was a huge desire to do great work, that you didn't have to leave the market. You didn't have to go to a bigger market. And he's made a career here and is now a leader and a partner. And so I think those kinds of stories help people understand, oh no, you can work for a national agency in Indianapolis, Indiana, and work with, national clients and do really great work. And that's what we continue to do. Kyle, I'm losing your.
Apologies there. Sorry. Let's get to brands and talk about why a brand would want to work with YNL. What is one of the main reasons that they should work with you?
Yeah, I think we believe in being a part of the Brand Strategy Foundation. So as opposed to just executing someone else's brief, that, going back to that real understanding of consumer behavior and consumer motivations, that's where we start with every client, no matter what category it is. Our process is called the unspoken brand strategy process, where we are trying to find that unspoken truth that everything can be built upon. And then we do really solid, bold creative that amplifies whatever that brand strategy is, but not just the big stuff. I think that's the thing about us that's, I don't know if it's unique, but it's something that we've always prided ourselves on, and that is touching every single touch point. Some agencies just want to do the TV or the big stuff, the video, and don't worry about the coupons or whatever. We believe that every single interaction that a customer has with the brand either enhances the brand or diminishes it. And so we want to be a part of every single one of those pieces, and we'll sweat the details on that. And what's interesting is that, the most insidious thing a client can do is trust us. Because what happens is the more they trust us, the deeper we want to be, the more excited we are about it, about their brand. And I think that's why some of these relationships we've had have gone for decades.
Right. So and what have you learned from those brands over the years that has helped Y&L not only stay in business but thrive?
Sometimes I think it's patience. I think that you look at the churn of CMOs, you look at the churn of campaigns, and I think the brands that stay with it, that create a foundation and don't wander, are the ones that over the long term do well. And I think that's important for any business to realize, not to get so bound in every single quarter and where the profit or loss is happening. Can you hang in there for the long term and build something over time, as opposed to making quick decisions because you need to, fill a gap for the next 3 months?
Right. Obviously independent for 4 decades plus, right? Why is it important to stay independent? I'm sure you've had conversations over the years with people who've wanted to buy you or but so how do you stay independent and keep that independence?
Yeah, it's funny how many emails I get literally per week with M&A firms sniffing around. It's kind of like what I said before. I think being independent allows us to have control to do the kind of work we want to do with the kind of clients we want to work with. We don't chase numbers because I think if you chase numbers, then you might find yourself working on a client that might not be the best fit. And I think over these, I've been, like I said, here a long time. We understand now what clients are a great fit for us and what clients might not be a great fit for us.
Mm-hmm.
We want clients that are ambitious, that want to grow, but also want to grow over the long term and have some stability about them, as opposed to we're just going to try something, and if that doesn't work, we're going to go off and try something else. So having that level of control to make decisions on who we hire, when we hire, who we take on, who we don't, is really important to us.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about thought leadership, because you do have thought leadership you built in with your Unreasonable event. So tell everybody about Unreasonable and what it is and why it's important to the agency.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say first is, as we've gone through our brand strategy processes, one of the things that becomes evident as you talk with marketers is that I think we all as humans are kind of fooled by our own sense of our own rationality. And so because of that, marketing can tend to be very rational, meaning that it wants to address rational behavior, meaning you give people the right price and the right product, it'll sell itself. But there's plenty of research out there that says that's not the case, that generally we're motivated by non-rational factors that we may in many cases not even be aware of. And so, one thought, do you write a book about that? There are a bunch of books out there. Instead, we said, let's create an event, a conference, where we bring in the PhDs actually doing the research on consumer behavior, consumer motivations. And let's, create a TED-like conference where people are talking about their research and different aspects of how non-rational motivations affect consumers. So we'll bring in behavioral economists, psychologists, neuroscientists that operate at a I would say a very approachable level to help marketers understand what is actually motivating consumers as opposed to what they're simply telling them. This will be our 6th event coming up in September. September 30th here in Indianapolis. We have it at Newfields, which is the home of the Indianapolis Museum of Art. It's a beautiful venue. It's a theater setting, so it feels like a TED conference. We'll have 7 or 8 different PhDs talking about different aspects. One might be talking about social proof. One might be talking about financial incentives. We'll be talking about AI this year for sure in terms of where the gaps in some of these synthetic consumers might be. So a lot of really interesting topics that we'll be delving into this September.
Yeah, it sounds very, very interesting, and the names you get every year are just fascinating. So I'm really looking forward to. And if everybody else wants to go on, make sure you check out the Unreasonable through YNL. So. Now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about weirdos, misfits, and underdogs. Everybody in the indie world seems to be one or a combination of these. So what would you say you are, weirdos, misfits, or underdogs?
I would say that we are underdogs, certainly. I think we are maybe the most normal set of Midwesterners you might ever meet. And so I think, when we go into pitches, we're not the flashy, weird, goofy, wacky salespeople. We're just really hardworking, thoughtful people that get excited about a brand and want to do the best we can for that brand. But being in Indianapolis, we don't have a lot of consumer brand headquarters here, and so we have to look outside this market to find our clients. And so I think we do have a bit of a chip on our shoulder as an underdog, pitching against clients that are always, it feels like every time we're in a pitch, they would say, "Well, no, you're the smallest one." It's like, that's normal for us. Right. We're used to that, and so I think that's the thrill. I mean, pitching, while it can be, really draining at times, it's also energizing. And, I was a team sport athlete in high school and college a bit, and a pitch is like, one of those team sports where that entire team comes together in that competition. It's really energizing for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very rational answer, and certainly, yeah, even an underdog after decades in business. But yeah, you kind of have to approach it like that, especially when you're dealing with out of market, potential clients.
I think so. I mean, I think that's the thing that we try to help young people that come on board understand. Even though we've been around for 40 plus years, we're never relaxing. You never. Right. Get comfortable. You never, it's like, it's going to be fine. We're always fighting and scratching and working our butts off. So I think that's what's kept me in it for so long, is the idea that, you're learning about new things every day, whether it's the clients you're talking to or obviously the technology that changes. It makes me laugh a little bit whenever I hear someone say, well, this is the fastest change you're ever going to see. It's always been that way.
Right.
They were saying that in the 80s and 90s, and the internet came. Oh, this is the fastest. Yeah, it is. And This is the fastest ever. It is. And it always will be. It's never going to slow down. So no. That's what keeps us all, I think, interested and energized in it.
That's great. All right, now's your chance. You get to call out a CMO or marketer, somebody you want to work with, somebody you have worked with, anybody you want to shout out. Now is your chance. Go for it.
Well, Wow, I know that I saw that on the list of questions. You know, I reached out to Fernando Machado, who just went to Chipotle not too
Right.
long ago. It was interesting because I reached out to him to come to Unreasonable before he got the job. So, because I think he's the kind of person that understands what we do. He understands consumers. He understands those non-rational motivations that consumers have. And I was hoping to maybe have him on stage for that. He's going to be a little busy now.
Yeah.
But if we could convince him to show up to Unreasonable, don't have to work with you, that's fine. But if you would want to come to Unreasonable and share your thoughts over your career on how you have engaged consumers, I think that would be super fun. And so I'd definitely invite him to the Unreasonable stage. I think it'd be great.
Fernando's absolutely amazing. I mean, his time at Burger King,
Yeah.
he pinpointed who his target market was and just was able to speak to them so well. So, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, at our first Unreasonable conference, we had Russ Klein there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after his time at Burger King. So it'd be a nice bookend moment to have another former Burger King CMO there too. They've done some pretty fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does there at Chipotle. So, well, that is all. And thank you, Tom. Tom Denari,
Awesome.
CEO of Young Laramore. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for being a part of this that we're building here. We really, really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for listening.
Appreciate
Cheers.
it, Kyle. Thanks everyone.